opens with John Chapman, a former U.S. Marine struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Haunted by memories of his fallen comrades, he turns to alcohol to cope with the pain. Feeling hopeless, he plays Russian roulette with a handgun, ready to end his life. But he survives when the gun turns out to be empty. The next scene happens in a convenience store. John stands by the liquor shelf, trying to numb his pain with alcohol. Suddenly, two armed robbers burst in. One of them points a gun at John, but the former Marine doesn't flinch. Instead, he grabs the gun, puts the barrel in his mouth, and challenges the robber to shoot. Stunned by John's fearless act, the robber hesitates, while his partner yells at him to pull the trigger. Relying on his Marine training, John quickly fights off both robbers, retrieves the stolen money, and returns it to the store owner. But when he gets home, his inner battle doesn't stop. Still haunted by PTSD, he wakes up at night, gasping for air, and pushes himself through intense workouts to quiet his mind. A sudden knock at the door startles him. When he opens it, he sees his sister, Cindy. They sit at the dinner table together, sharing a rare and warm family moment. The next day, Cindy discovers that John hasn't been taking his PTSD medication. When she asks him about it, he shrugs it off, saying he's fine and admitting that he hates the pills. Then he changes the subject and asks if she's okay. Cindy says she is, but her tense body language reveals the truth she's hiding, worries and insecurities she can't hide. The next day, Cindy boards a plane back to Brazil. The story then moves to a beach, where a child from the slums leads two police officers, including Katerina, to a terrible scene. They find Cindy beaten and covered in blood, but still alive. Katerina immediately calls for an ambulance to rush her to the hospital. Meanwhile, John receives a call from Ridley, a fellow veteran and old teammate, who tells him about the attack. The news fills John with anger. John immediately flies to Brazil. In the next scene, Katerina is handing out soft drinks to people in the slums when sudden gunfire breaks out. She and her partner run toward the sound and find Detective Santo and Baroro arresting a group of suspects. But things quickly get out of hand as the crowd grows angry. Soon, the officers are surrounded, and tensions rise when people in the slums start aiming their guns at the police. Santo suggests a deal. Each side will choose their best fighter. If the police lose, they must leave and free the suspects they arrested. But if the police win, they'll return until Cindy's attacker is caught. The deal leads to a tense showdown between Detective Carlos Baroro and the slum's best fighter. Using his superior skills, Baroro easily wins the fight. Before leaving, Santo tells the crowd that the police will return to complete their mission. John meets with Manny and Santo, and they agree that he should team up with Detective Katerina to investigate the case. Later, John visits Cindy at the hospital. When he enters her room, he sees an Asian nurse giving her an IV injection with a suspicious-looking drug. He stays silent at first, but moments later, Cindy starts having violent seizures. Doctors rush in and manage to save her. When John asks about the nurse, the staff tells him that no Asian nurse works there. It becomes clear that someone tried to harm Cindy as part of a bigger plan. John visits the place where Cindy was found and begins his investigation. There, he spots a young man wearing a necklace he recognizes as his sister's. Suspicious? John asks where he got it. Before the young man can answer, a fight suddenly breaks out with some locals. After the chaos settles, the truth is revealed. The young man's name is Kaka, and he's someone Cindy once helped in the slums. The necklace wasn't stolen. It was a gift from Cindy to Kaka to show her gratitude and friendship. John receives Cindy's diary but notices that several pages are missing. Determined to find the truth, he uses sandpaper to reveal the faint writing marks left on the torn pages. From this, he uncovers a mysterious phone number. John calls the number and arranges a meeting with a man named Bruno. During their conversation, Bruno explains that Cindy had been secretly investigating the disappearance of sex workers in the slums, using the connections she made while working there. Cindy had arranged a meeting with someone who could reveal the truth about the case. She also asked Bruno, a photographer she had worked with before, to take pictures of the meeting. Bruno said he gave the original photos to Cindy, but kept copies for his own protection. However, John secretly took those copies. As Bruno got into his car, it suddenly exploded, injuring John, who was standing nearby. Shocked, John noticed an Asian woman near the scene who looked exactly like the nurse he had seen at the hospital. She escaped in a car, even though John tried to catch her. During the chase, he was ambushed by a group of armed men. John fought fiercely, using all his skills to drive them away. Later, he and Manny looked through the photos John had managed to recover. As they studied them, they began to suspect that the Yakuza were connected to the case. They went to a nightclub linked to the Yakuza to find the man from the photos, the one seen meeting with Cindy. Inside, John confronted him face to face. The man, known as DJ Lima, confessed that he was a smuggler. He explained that Cindy had caught him during one of his deals and had questioned him about it. Unfortunately for Cindy, Lima's client had also been watching and might have been the one responsible for attacking her. Lima gave John information about where to find this client, so John and Manny decided to investigate further. Meanwhile, Santo led a violent raid through the slums, hunting for wanted criminals. His team of assassins carried out a ruthless massacre, killing many innocent people without mercy. Following Lima's directions, John arrived at a luxurious mansion and was shocked by its extreme display of wealth. Inside, he saw people from the highest levels of society, men and women with power and influence. Among them, he spotted the same powerful Asian woman he had seen before. A guard then led John to the back balcony where he saw a black truck arrive. Several young girls were taken out of the truck and led into the mansion. Among the girls, John was shocked to see Maria, Kaka's sister. At that moment, a guard attacked him, but John used his marine training to quickly take the man down. Meanwhile, in the slums, a police officer spotted a Japanese man preparing to board a black truck. Realizing something was wrong, the officer ordered him to stop and quickly called for backup. Santo and Baroro arrived just as the police were reporting what was happening. Without warning, Santo pointed his gun at a young officer and shot him in the head, leaving everyone in shock. The truth then came out. Santo and Baroro were secretly working with the Japanese woman who had tried to kill Cindy. In a shocking twist, it became clear that Santo's raid was never meant to stop criminals. It was actually a cover-up to silence anyone who could give Cindy information about their sex trafficking operation. The Yakuza had hired Santo to destroy any evidence that could expose their operation. The Japanese woman told him his payment would be waiting at the dock. Meanwhile, at the villa, guards began chasing John after he discovered where the kidnapped victims were being held. At the same time, the ruthless boss, Haramoto, ordered the Yakuza woman to return to the hospital and kill Cindy to finish the job. At the same time, Haramoto coldly questioned Lima, then killed him with a sword. He then turned to Santo and Baroro, saying that John was interfering with his operations. The two detectives quickly promised to take care of the problem. Meanwhile, at the brothel, John was surrounded by guards, but using his combat skills, he quickly fought back and defeated them. Santo and Baroro arrived soon after, and John tried to explain the situation. Santo was about to kill him, but Katarina and her team showed up just in time to stop him. John then led them to the room where the children had been held, but it was already empty. At that moment, Santo turned to John and demanded that he hand over the important shipping documents he had found. John agreed to cooperate, unaware that Santo was secretly working with the Yakuza. But as he left the hotel, he began to sense something suspicious and realized Santo was involved. He decided to follow him and track the detective to the docks. Meanwhile, a Yakuza assassin tried to kill Cindy, but Officer Katarina arrived just in time to save her. At the docks, John found a group of mercenaries including Santo, Baroro, and Haramoto preparing to ship goods to Japan. John quickly called Manny Ridley to update him on the situation and ask for backup. He also warned the police not to use their radios, afraid that Santo was a double agent. Then John entered the warehouse and was immediately confronted by a group of thugs. Using his combat skills, he fought them off and defeated each one. Moments later, Santo and Baroro attacked him, but during the fight, John managed to trap Santo under a pile of crates, leaving him unable to move. Soon after, John faced Baroro, a dangerous and skilled fighter. Their battle was fierce, with brutal blows exchanged between the detective and the former Marine. Baroro was strong and fast, but John's determination gave him the upper hand, and he eventually defeated him. Just then, Santo broke free and charged at John, but the experienced soldier quickly overpowered him with ease. Both Baroro and Santo got back up at the same time. While John kept his eyes on them, Haramoto suddenly attacked from behind. John barely dodged the swing of his sword, then struck back quickly at all three. A brutal fight broke out as the three men attacked together, forcing John into a corner. Despite the danger, John fought back with everything he had. He landed several powerful punches on Santo, breaking his ribs, and at the same time drove Santo's knife into Baroro's leg, knocking him off balance. John then faced Haramoto in a one-on-one fight. Using his Marine training, he armed himself with 2 ceramic rods and fought fiercely against the Yakuza boss, who moved with the skill of a master swordsman. Haramoto managed to wound John once, but John quickly regained control and forced him to his knees. In desperation, Haramoto pulled out a gun and fired, taunting John by saying his sister had fought harder. His cruel words filled John with anger. Filled with rage, John launched a series of fast, powerful strikes at Haramoto. When the Yakuza boss tried to get up, John showed no mercy and shot him several times until he went down. Before dying, Santo claimed he had nothing to do with the attack on Cindy. He handed John a key that contained important evidence against the organization. In his final moments, Santo asked for a gun so he could end his own life. John agreed, and with help from the Marines, he rescued the kidnapped victims and brought them to safety. When the police arrived, they found Cindy awake and slowly recovering. Her head injury was severe, and doctors warned it would take years to heal. Later, at a coffee shop, Ridley suggested that John join the Department of State as a special agent. John accepted, knowing it would let him keep serving his country while the government helped take care of his sister.